A very good evening to everyone present here. I, Sapna Manjunath, will be talking about my proposal of providing basic services to the homeless of Rajkot, focusing on the wash sector in this presentation. The presentation is divided into three sections: issues, analysis, and recommendations. And after each section, the inferences will be added to the table that summarizes the project at the end. Starting with a summary of the problem tree analysis, it was observed that the homeless of Rajkot are prone to diseases and lead an unhygienic and unsafe quality of life. This is due to the poor condition, inaccessibility, and inadequate number of community toilets for the urban poor. Being the most vulnerable community in a city, it is most important to consider the homeless in service provision. 0.3% of Rajkot's population is homeless, where majority are permanently homeless migrant families. The nature of their jobs make them concentrated in and around transit nodes, footpaths, and vacant plots. Apart from sanitation, it was found during primary surveys that the homeless lack other services as well. These are the basic services, in no order of priority, that is required to lead a healthy life: roof overhead, access to wash and healthcare, food, transportation, education, and employment. All the basic services are interconnected and cannot be provided in silo. The homeless in Rajkot lack these basic services as they lack identification card, formal employment, and permanent shelters. In order to analyze how all the basic services can be provided to the homeless, three scenarios are given. Scenario 1, homeless, where we observe a poor quality of life. Scenario 2, night shelters, where we see a step of transition. And Scenario 3, access to permanent housing, where we see the desired quality of life. Hence, housing is the final goal, but providing basic services in the first step becomes necessary to improve the quality of life and climb the ladder. Through primary survey and analysis, it is observed that most of Rajkot's homeless are on the lowest step of the ladder and prioritize other basic services much more than that of roof overhead. The basic services are provided through various initiatives such as PMAY. Most homeless are not eligible due to lack of ID cards and formal employment. The other initiative is by NULM, providing night shelters as temporary housing with most basic services available within the premises. The main issue with night shelters in Rajkot is that it is separate for men and women, not for families, has time restrictions, and not near their workplace. Similar such initiatives are provided, but a major gap is observed. Most are focused on housing and food, and only a few on wash, healthcare, and so on. Hence, providing basic services in the short term, that is a bottom-up approach, is important for a better quality of life. The goals can be divided into short-term, mid-term, and long-term phases. The goals for each basic service are as mentioned in the slide. Considering a migrant or a homeless in need of all basic services, the first thing would be to be able to go to a place that could lead them to the services. This would be the Basic Service Facilitation Center. From here, the homeless would then be guided to night shelters and provided a homeless card that would give them free or subsidized access to all the basic services. Constructing BSFC and providing homeless card would be the short-term goal. Constructing family night shelters would be the mid-term goal before the homeless are capable of moving into permanent houses. The BSFC would be located in RMC zonal offices so that it is easily accessible to the homeless. The homeless would be guided to the night shelters, get educated on their fundamental rights, and given access to a homeless card. These homeless cards are smart cards that can be used all over India as an identity and address proof. And all the 7 basic services are accessible to the homeless, free or subsidized. The features of this card make sure that the cards are not misused. The basic services provided through this card are as stated. In order to understand the homeless card better, an example detailing out the sanitation facilities provided is discussed further. The first initiative would be a CSR initiative, where the O&M of existing community toilets are taken care of. Through analysis, it was also observed that the CTs are not adequate and hence public toilets will have to be utilized. The next initiative would be to provide free access to public toilet with the help of a homeless card. Incentives such as rebate on electricity bill will be provided for the private companies. This would ensure that the basic service, access to toilet for the homeless, is taken care of. Talking about the mid-term goal, construction of family night shelters are a thought about project at NULM. The suitable locations would again be near the workplace of the homeless or places near transit nodes for easy transportation. The long-term goal would be to provide permanent housing. This brings us to the summary of the project, where all the basic services have been provided for the homeless by changing a top-down approach to a bottom-up approach. Thank you.